Ahoj, tady je spgameplay.cz neboli Pepa a vítám vás u hry Vampyr. Tak, začínáme přesně tam, kde jsme minule skončili. Spát si bohužel nepůjdeme. Půjdeme se tady pokázat se zbytkem personálu. Tak. Tady koukám, jsem zahlednul místnost, ano.
It's locked.
Tak nic, bohužel. Tak, budeme si pokecat se zbytkem personálu. To znamená zase pro někoho zábavnou část, pro někoho velice nudnou část. Záleží, jak to berete. No nic, začneme teda odsud, od toho Elwooda. A tady je taky dopis. Ohoho! O použití česneku a dřevěných kůlů. Zase, nechám tady zase chvíli trošku z toho pozastavený. A já vám to zase trošku posunu, protože, jo. Tak. Asi je zbytečný, no. No nic, ale tyhle ty věci se musí sbírat. Všechno si rád pozbírám a potom následně pročtu. Co tě trápí, můj milý paciente?
Good evening, sir. Can I help you?
Unless you're here to fix my face. No. I don't think you can help me.
I'm Dr. Reed. I've recently taken the position of head surgeon here. War injuries, am I right?
You guessed right, Doctor. German shell took my pretty little mug right off. But they still call me Thomas Elwood.
How is your stay with us, Mr. Elwood?
Oh, it's bliss. I just escaped death in the trenches to be surrounded again by the moans of the dying.
Can I ask you precisely why you're a patient here?
It's the pain, sir. The drugs don't work. It just hurts under the scars, if you get my drift.
Can I do anything for your pain?
Nurses gave me a bunch of pills. No effect. Told you. It's like the flames are under my skin, burning away.
Who is treating you? Is someone in particular looking after your case?
Nobody since the old and tired doctor spoke to me. Started to think I was forgotten about. Wouldn't blame you.
You don't seem worried by that.
My face hurts so much more when I smile or cry. I've learned it's easier not to speak. But be assured I'm smiling inside.
Why do you feel responsible for the injury, Thomas? What really happened?
I wasn't disfigured by any German shells. It happened during my leave. It was an accident.
Why lie about it?
Come on. It's one thing to come back disfigured by the Germans, and it's another to get injured in an accident that could have happened to anybody.
A kurňa. Práce by vám mohla pomoci, krása není všechno, navždy se skrývat nemůžete. No, reálně, hele, fascinace. Jako mohli bychom ho fascinovat. Jednička. A nevím, no. Vypadá, když bychom zjistili všechny 3 informace, to znamená ještě další 2, tak bychom možná z něj mohli vytřískat nějakých 1000 zkušeností. I když ale to se nám asi moc nevyplatí, no, reálně. No, uvidíme do budoucna, ale rozhodně já mu teda řeknu, že by mu operace mohla určitě pomoct.
Reconstructive surgery has been very successful for some soldiers.
I don't want to wear a bloody mask for the rest of my life. I'd rather stay here and just be forgotten.
Kurva! Kurňa drát, to jsem nechtěl. Tak ty padneš dneska. No, dneska asi třeba ne, ale... Kurňa drát!
Tell me what really happened then.
I went with a whore in Rouen. Dead drunk I was. The hotel was a shithole. There was a fire that night.
Did you start the fire? Were you trying to avoid going back to the front? That's not uncommon, you know.
No. It's just that I was asleep when the flames reached the room. The girl was long gone. Bitch never woke me up. Left me to burn.
Where were you stationed, sir? Did you serve for long?
I really don't want to talk about all this shit.
No offense. I was pushing too much. I served in France myself. I just wanted to know what happened to you.
You were an officer, weren't you? Then I doubt we fought the same war, sir. No offense.
Chápu, no. No nic, no.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
Tady Elwood mě teda pěkně nasral, že si nechce ty vole... To je protože já jsem ho neposlouchal, no. To si buďme reálně jako upřímný, no. No dobře, tím pádem jsme nezjistili nějakou informaci. A vypadá to, že hra nás za to velmi asi hodně... potrestá nás za to, a to dost. Já budu muset prostě dávat lepší pozor, prostě. Já jsem potřeboval tady něco udělat, ty vole, a tady se ukáže, že ten idiot zrovna potřebuje mít plnou pozornost. No nic. Jedna chyba se nikdy nestratila.
Good evening, Mr. Hampton. How do you feel?
Dr. Reed, is it? Oh, sir, I must apologize for my behavior.
What do you mean?
I was not myself in the factory. Fear and exhaustion made me say awful things to you, I'm afraid.
You remained perfectly nice and polite. A little delirious, perhaps. But who wouldn't be after enduring an abduction?
Thank you, Doctor. That's a relief. Now all I need to do is rest and return to my flock.
How did you end up in William Bishop's den?
I had received alarming news about his recent behavior. I went to his place and he refused to let me go.
Why did he abduct you?
William was an alcoholic. His addiction suddenly changed to blood. I don't know why. Just like a patient I met here. This Miss Hawcroft.
You dared to enter this awful place alone. You're a hero, Mr. Hampton. Or a fool.
I'm just a man trying to help his friends, Dr. Reed. William Bishop was a conflicted soul, searching for light.
What is the general situation in the East End docks?
The situation has always been tough, with a lot of tensions between the gangs and the dockers' trade union. The Wet Boot Boys are very nervous since they lost their leader.
Who leads the gang now?
Since Clay Cox went missing, it's his wife Edwina who runs the show, with the assistance of her minion, Booth Digby.
No, vypadá to, že naše činy se začaly velice rychle vyvíjet, protože jak jsme zabili nebo vysáli toho Claye, jakožto našeho prvního, no vlastně druhýho člověka, kterýho jsme vysáli, tak teďka to někdo ten gang předal někomu jinému, nějaký jeho pomocník nebo co, nebo společník. Takže kdybychom ho nechali žít, tak by nám možná třeba do budoucna prostě mohl ten gang jako třeba helpnout něčem. Teďka teda ten gang vede teda někdo jiný. No, zajímavý, začíná to zajímavě.
Has the gang been threatening you?
Ah, no. I've had this nickname for so long, you know, the sad saint of the East End. No one dares to bug a saint, not even criminals.
Do you know Tom Watts, the bartender from the Turtle? I met him before I found you in the canning factory.
Tom? Yes, of course. Always the helping hand, good old Tom. Without men like him, corruption and despair would have wiped out the East End long ago.
People are still in despair.
How could it be otherwise? The authorities have left us all to rot in this contagious nightmare. No drugs, no advice, nothing. It's a damn shame.
Who should I avoid in this part of town, then? Any particularly evil figures?
Not really. Most men and women are just doing their best. And it's not my habit to speak ill of people I know, Doctor.
Wow. Ten nám toho dost pověděl. No nic. No čím se živíte? Asi bych řekl, že asi znám odpověď, no ale... Hej, pověz mi to.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Hampton? I can't help but notice the cross around your neck.
I manage a night asylum for the poor and homeless of the docks. And I try to guide the lost and hesitant on the right path to our Lord.
Are you a priest, Mr. Hampton? A deacon, maybe?
Not at all, Doctor. I'm just a man of faith willing to preach the good word.
Tak jsem se spletl jeho práci, to nevadí.
Why didn't you use your cross against William Bishop? To repel him somehow?
That's a very strange question, Doctor. A cross is no magical token, if that's what you were trying to say. Not mine, anyway.
Have you made friends since you arrived?
Not really, but I recognize Miss Harriet Jones. I knew her when she lived by the docks. That poor woman had such a miserable life.
You never came to see her here at Pembroke? Receiving visits when sick can be an important part of the healing process, you know. We're not just bodies.
You're preaching to the converted now, Doctor. To be truly honest, I thought she was dead. She left the docks many months ago.
How do you feel, Mr. Hampton? Medically speaking, I mean.
I feel exhausted. Beyond exhaustion, actually. William drank so much of my blood in his madness. I feel empty.
You're in good hands here. Dr. Swansea is well versed in blood transfusion, and I'm sure he'll take the best care of you.
Thank you, sir. I believe all I need is rest. And then I can go back to the people who need me.
Goodbye, Mr. Hampton. We'll talk again later.
To byl pokec, co? Jasně, Thomas Elwood, to je ten idiot, který nám... No a konec za to můžu sám, no. Sere mě to, ne, že ne, jo, co si budeme povídat. No nic, jsem si pokecal s tou ženskou.
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon at the Pembroke Hospital. And who are you?
Your name has no meaning to me, mortal. You're nothing but dust blown by the winds of eternity.
I beg your pardon?
What are you begging for, mortal? My clemency? Well, tonight maybe I'm inclined to mercy. You'll never forget the night you met Thelma Howcroft.
You keep calling me mortal. Why is that? And if I'm mortal, what are you?
Well, Dr. Reed, if you must know, I'm a vampire.
Ty, já vím, Vampyr, jo? No, já ti úplně moc nevěřím, no.
And why do you believe you're a vampire?
I don't need to believe anything. It is what I am. It is what I feel within this hollow shell of flesh.
Please, describe to me how you feel. What is it like to be a vampire?
I can hear my body crumble from the inside as my flesh cracks and fades. I sense the last pulse of postulant blood within my drying veins. I need new blood.
I see. Have you ever heard of Cotard's syndrome, Miss Howcroft?
Never.
It's a mental illness discovered by a French neurologist named Jules Cotard. The affected patients are delusional. They believe that they are putrefying, that they are dead, a ghost or a ghoul, or in your case, a vampire.
Delusional, you say? Oh, sad and petty mortal. You can't even begin to understand the concept of immortality. And you think it is I who am delusional.
Má dvojku fascinace, no. No, jako má pravdu, ale jako ne, že bych jí to chtěl tady jako potvrdit, no.
I'm assuming you must be a patient here. Am I right, Miss Howcroft?
It's only a cover. To hide from my enemies. I can leave whenever I want. As a woman, a spirit, fog, or bat.
Who are these enemies you mentioned? Can you describe them?
I cannot say for sure. But I sense their eyes on me from nearby. I feel them watching me every time I visit the garden near the morgue.
The staff here are not your enemy. They're here to help you, to care for you.
I'm not speaking of the doctors in white. I'm speaking of the men and women who hunt me. For I am a vampire.
I see. Don't worry. These people will not find you here. I'll personally make sure they leave you alone.
Thank you, mortal. But do not interfere with them, for you are no match for those that hunt me.
Pak jsme to dostali, místní vyšetřování. OK. Jo, jasně. Výuku může zahájit sledováním A. Přijděte na to, kdo špehuje Thelmu. Jasně. Tady jsme měli jasné od Miltona Huxe. Jsme tady měli za úkol, že jo, tu peněženku. Tu jsme teda našli dřív, než jsme měli. A špatný cíl. Tady máme přijít na to, kdo jí špehuje. Jo, takže já můžu dát, že chci sledovat a mělo by se mi to pak zobrazovat někde na mapě, jo. To je chytrý.
Who are you really, Miss Howcroft? I mean, apart from being a vampire.
Is that not enough for you, puny mortal? What do you require? Proof of my powers?
I'm curious to know who you were before becoming a vampire.
Oh, such a long time ago, I don't remember. Centuries of unholy life can have strange effects on one's minds, you see?
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
Tak to bychom zjistili jednoduše, ne? Jestli je upír, prostě bychom... Jak to jenom říci? Vyhnali bychom ji prostě přes den ven. Tak tady tohle i to Elvura, to si budu pamatovat, to je idiot. A tady já říkám, musím pokecat ještě s ostatními. S ostatními. Tady venku je to všechno? Asi jo. Jo, já tady můžu jít ven. Jasně, už to vidím. Já tady můžu jít zjistit, kdo je tady spízuje. To bychom mohli udělat. To bychom mohli. Tak a tady někde to je, jo. No tady někdo je venku, tak je to. Tak je ten idiot. Rakáš. Jsem zase daleko už. Schválně, tak když
Thelma Howcroft said she was being watched by vampire hunters. Where are they hiding? I should investigate.
A tady je taky doktor. No, tady jsou mrtví, to asi nehrozí. Jo, ono to je propojený. OK. Já se jdu zeptat schválně, jestli o tom něco neví.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Such a pleasure to see you again.
No tak tady to asi nezjistím, no.
Goodbye, Mr. Chidana.
It never ceases to amaze me how you, the dead.
Reálně bych jako očekával, že to fakt bude on, jako. To je tady jako, není moc kam jako zalíst, jo. Zkusíme tady, ale... Jo, to je plagát, to ne. Ty vole. Nevím, co to bylo, ale lak jsem se. Asi to nic nebylo. Tady prostě vybuchujou barely, jo. Prostě jen tak. A jako co jsem? Ale bedná. Jsem mi tady nechal minule, jo, když jsem tady byl. Teď už to jde otevřít. Spizung. A mám tě, hajzle. Ty kráso. Tak pojď. Oheň! Oheň! Kurně drát. Cípněte. Cípni. Kurně drát, hergot, figot. Jsou tu ale. Jsou tu. Já jsem očekal, že to bude jako pokec. Ježíši Kriste, to není možný. Já nemám žádnou krev, já jsem chtěl jsem udělat ty drápy, ale neměl jsem krev. Jasně, tady před ním se normálně objev jako upír, že jo, v pohodě. Já je potřebuji vysát. Oni by tam teda asi správně, už by tam měl správně zůstat jenom jeden. Protože, že jo, jakoby já jsem ho zabil, ale to, že jo. Ale... No pokud tady budou zase dva. Jsou tu zase dva. Jsou to šestky, jo. Tak pojď. Tak pojď. Pojď! Pojď! Střílej! Kousni ho! Potřebujeme krev. Kamrdni ho za to. No ještě, pojď! Tak, problém vyřešený. Tak, to byla akce, co lidi. Průzkumná mise. Tak, samozřejmě, to chci zase přečíst, může si video pozastavit. Tak dále a tak dále. Takže proto tady byly ty dveře. Proto jsme je nemohli dřív otevřít, protože je občanská povinnost. Dobrá. Jo, aha, takže oni mají ještě základnu tady. No, říkal jsem si, že si budeme chtít pokecat to, že jo, pokecat s těmi, že jo, s lidmi tady. Já myslím, že máme tady, no, ne, jdem tam, to uděláme potom. Já tady opravdu bych nejradši se všemi pokecal, ať máme o tom volnou ruku, ať potom můžeme krásně tady to, krásně plynule se dostat do příběhu. Protože by to bylo takový jakoby nejvíc ideální, tady nám ještě dost lidí chybí, k tomu bychom pokecali. A je řve někdo? Nevadí, ať se řve.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. May I help you?
I don't know if a third opinion is needed. Your colleagues are already arguing about my condition.
I see. Would you mind telling me more about your situation?
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want is to get me bloody arm fixed properly.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Fiddick.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his arm fixed, so I can return to work and to my family.
I was more curious about what you were doing before being hospitalized.
I'm a carpenter, and a good one too. But that means I need both arms to feed my family, Dr. Reed.
Are you satisfied with your treatment here?
Well, it's clear that I've chosen a bad time to be injured. Forgive my bluntness, but you seem overwhelmed by cases of the flu.
I won't lie to you about it. I'm afraid we are.
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reed? I have the feeling you're very capable, and your colleagues seem to think so too.
In other circumstances, you would be right. But for now, I don't think I can take on the responsibility. My apologies. Tell me about the doctors who are arguing about your case.
Strickland and Aykroyd. They both want the best for me, but there's a lot of pride there. Doctors are no different from carpenters, it seems.
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments with rivals on a building site. Difference is I disagreed about wooden nails, not flesh and bones.
Tak, žádný osobní otázky na něj nemáme, takže
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick.
uzavřená kapitola. Tak, tady je asi doktor, další doktor, tady je Dorothy. Už jenom tady ty dva nám zbývají? Nám zbývají jenom tady tyhle ty dva idioti. Tamhle ještě jedna neznámá, ale tam se podle mě k ní nedostaneme. Ona bude mít zavřený ty dveře. Tak jdem pokecat s těma dvouma doktorama tady. Pak bychom ještě mohli pokecat s těmahle dvouma idiotama tady.
Good evening, Doctor. I believe we're going to be working together.
Dr. Reed. Dr. Swansea informed us of your arrival, but I could not dare to believe we'd have such good fortune. Such an honor, sir.
Thank you. And you are?
I am Thoreau Strickland, Dr. Thoreau Strickland. I'm a great admirer of your work, Dr. Reed.
Please, could you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a great admirer of your work concerning blood transfusion, Dr. Reed. I run my own experiments. I'm convinced it's the future.
What made you choose to be a doctor?
I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work have inspired me. I am honored to have the opportunity to work by your side.
Oh. Milý rád vám pomohu, výzkum je vyčerpávající, lichoty jsou k ničemu. Hele, já ti velice rád pomůžu, kámo.
It's always a pleasure to share scientific and medical knowledge with someone eager to learn. I'll be glad to help you if I can.
This epidemic may be the century's most terrible disaster, but I'm convinced that we, as doctors, are the only ones able to defeat it.
I based my technique on my mentor's research. He helped me perfect my method. What is yours?
I'd rather not talk about it. For now, it's just theories and first approach. My process is purely experimental and unsuccessful.
As long as you're cautious and methodical, you may remain empty-handed, but you won't fail.
You're not the first one to warn me, but I am convinced knowledge is the main weapon against the ravages of this epidemic.
What can you tell me about the Pembroke?
Well, it has always been an honor to work with Dr. Swansea. But with your arrival, I can't think of a better opportunity to learn about blood transfusion.
You seem quite optimistic. It's a rare and precious attitude in these difficult times.
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test of endurance and dedication for us men of science.
Questions remain about our capacity to resolve the situation.
True. Last summer, during the first wave of the epidemic, I used to joke with Milton about the extra work. We're not smiling now.
Do you need help with anything in particular?
Well, yes, maybe. I'm waiting for a batch of products I ordered for my personal research, yet my supplier seems to have vanished.
Do you want me to play the errand boy for you?
Oh no, Dr. Reed. But if you went personally to his shop, what with your reputation and all, he wouldn't dare to refuse the products I need.
I see. Well, give me the address, for I may pass by if I have time. Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
No, máme další vyšetření. Tak pojď do mě. Jasně, to ještě tady plníme. Potřebné přísady. Jo. To mě zajímá, kde to je, ale na té mapě. No. Je to trošku z ruky, nebudu vám tady úplně lhát. Zatím budeme řešit tady ten špatný cíl pro Telmu. Koukejte, Miltona má 2000, ale to je obchodník, ten se nám bude ještě do budoucna šiknout. Máme ještě čas? Já bych řekl, že ještě máme chvíli čas. Jdeme tak s druhým doktorem.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I believe we're going to be colleagues.
Reed? Yes, I've been informed about your arrival. I'm Waverly Ackroyd. Welcome aboard, I suppose.
Does my arrival inconvenience you in some way, Dr. Ackroyd?
Let us just say that I don't particularly share Dr. Swansea's enthusiasm for hiring you. What we need here are reliable professionals, not overrated dabblers.
If you have a problem with me, Dr. Ackroyd, please feel free to tell me.
Dr. Swansea has imposed your presence on this hospital without asking anyone's advice. The benefit of his position. But I don't agree with it.
I know we've never met before, but I believe this hospital could use all the help it can get. You will agree with that, I'm sure.
Oh, but I have heard about you, Dr. Reed. Of course you can't say the same about me, since I have not wasted my time courting the press.
Ten mě očividně nemá vůbec v lásce, no. Doktor Waverly Ackroyd. No. Žálivost nic dobrého nepřinese. Rozhoduju se mezi těmi dvouma, co bych mu řekl. Nepřátelství není třeba, žádlivost nic dobrého nepřinese. Jako ta žádlivost, to co nic nepřinese, no. Jako když mi bude žárlit. Že teď je mi to hovnu, že jsem třeba slavnej, nebo mě lidi prostě znají.
Aren't you too old for such jealousy? It really won't do you any good, you know.
Don't be ridiculous, Dr. Reed. A simple glance is enough for me to know you have nothing for me to envy.
Dobrá, to nebylo úplně moc příjemný, teda no.
Since your tenure in this hospital is longer than mine, perhaps you can tell me more about this place.
Let's just say I'm tired of the carelessness around me. I have always respected the skills of Dr. Swansea, but over time his enthusiasm has become displaced.
Carelessness? Exactly what are you talking about?
We're here to save lives. The people who trust us are not volunteering for experimentation. They're here to be healed.
I don't intend to run any radical experiments, Doctor. Even if I, as any good practitioner should, express an interest in pushing the boundaries of medical research.
Modern medical methods were created through audacity and ego. But there are rules in our line of work, and they're here to protect our patients.
Tell me, Waverly, What do you think of Dr. Strickland's enthusiasm for his experimental research?
Strickland is playing with his patients' lives for pride and glory. Now that, sir, is unethical.
Are you thinking about something in particular?
Harvey Fiddick needs delicate surgery. I believe we should stick to the usual procedure, but my young colleague obviously disagrees.
And are you not afraid that your rivalry with Strickland may be blinding you?
Rivalry? I guess you could call it that. But I will never be childish enough to let my personal feelings affect my judgment.
Why do you wish to lead this surgery?
I strongly believe that Mr. Fiddick should not be butchered to test an unproven procedure.
No, tomu budu asi věřit, no.
I really hope you're right about this, Dr. Ackroyd. I am trusting your judgment on this.
I'm not the kind of man who runs away from his responsibilities, Dr. Reed. There is no need for you to be looking over my shoulder.
I don't know what you've heard about me, but I have already proved my value as a practitioner.
I don't question your skills, Dr. Reed, but your motive. Is it money, fame, or are you truly dedicated?
And what exactly is that supposed to mean?
I served in the war just like you. But unlike you, I did not use the wounded to play the modern sorcerer.
Be careful what you insinuate, Dr. Ackroyd.
I only want you to admit you used those men to improve your theories.
No, tady jako já nevím, co Jonathan dělal ve válce, ale prostě byl to zdravotník, tak jako
This is ridiculous.
asi tohle řeknu, no.
My blood transfusion technique saved many lives, and you know it.
You see? That is exactly what I hate about people like you. You avoid this kind of accusation instead of facing reality.
It seems you have bad memories of your military service.
I refuse to see this industrial slaughter as scientific progress. War only reveals the worst in men.
We can at least agree on something, Dr. Ackroyd. Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
Velice příjemný pán. Druhý příjemný pán, opravdu. Velice příjemný. No nic, pokecali jsme tady snad skoro se všemi. Zbývá nám tady ještě tady tyhle ty dva a potom bychom se mohli vrhnout. Nenapadně tady ukradnem. Pak bychom se mohli vrhnout klidně třeba na ty mise pro občany. No nic, ale tady se s váma budu muset rozloučit, tady se s váma rozloučím, to je definitivní. Akorát musím zvolit nějaký překrásný místo. Tak nic. Nějaký nádherný místo. Bychom mohli potom zpětně navázat. Je třeba tady, takže jo. V dalším díle si pokecám ještě s dvouma lidma, co tam jsou v té místnosti. A potom v dalším díle ještě půjdeme splnit tady ty naše občanské povinnosti, nebo místní povinnosti. Takže jo, takže doufám, že vás toto baví. Jako mě. A doufám, že se vám líbí toto video a tak dále. A u dalšího videa víte, co máte čekat. Takže jo, já jsem rád, že jste dokoukali až sem a mějte se hezky a čus.